This video will contain spoilers for the upcoming Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and we'll discuss a portion of its story. If you haven't played the demo, or are waiting for the full game to release, please skip this video. The demo for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity has revealed a lot of new information regarding the events of 100 years ago, with 15 minutes of story cutscenes and 2 entire levels to play on the go, far more than any of us expected them to have in a demo. The demo reveals many key story points that set up the events of the Calamity. However, compared to Breath of the Wild, these events raise a lot of questions. What we are going to discuss today is an event that takes place at the very start of the game, something that could fundamentally change how we perceive the events of Breath of the Wild, how Age of Calamity could change the Zelda timeline. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity begins in the midst of the Great Calamity. Hyrule Castle is swarming with malice as legions of guardians lay waste to what's left of the demolished castle ruins. The rumbling of the guardians' assault on the castle shakes the walls of the massive fortress, and within Zelda's room atop one of the spires of the castle, a small box is knocked down from one of the top shelves in response to this turbulence, holding a small white guardian within. Zooming towards Fort Hateno, we learn exactly when these events take place, being at the exact time Princess Zelda awoke her sealing powers just outside Fort Hateno, followed by the fall of the hero. The bright sealing light is seen even from Hyrule Castle, as it engulfs the many guardians swarming the kingdom. As this happens, the small guardian within a wooden box suddenly reactivates, in response to Zelda's own awakening. The small guardian, after looking for Zelda around her room, soon looks out one of the windows at the horrors happening outside. After having a vision of Zelda using her sealing power, the small robot whistled a short melody, which opened a blue energy portal mid-air. Suddenly, a corrupted guardian stalker burst into the room, knocking the small guardian out of the window, barely managing to grab onto the ledge with one of its claws. As it looked over the edge to see what had happened, the guardian stalker, unable to fully pass through the door, aimed its laser at the tiny guardian, ready to strike. The guardian, to evade the incoming laser, jumped into the portal, as the guardian stalker sipped out its malice, which followed after the mini guardian, both traveling into the past before the Great Calamity even began. The introduction of time travel in Age of Calamity sets up the possibility that the game will split the timeline yet again, just as Ocarina of Time split the timeline after Link was sent back in time by Princess Zelda following the defeat of Ganondorf, thus creating 2 separate continuities: the reality where Link was sent back in time to relive his childhood, leading to the events of Majora's Mask, and the reality without a hero, which will lead to the Great Flood and the events of the Wind Waker. I believe that the time travel could split the timeline into 2. The timeline we know where Breath of the Wild takes place, that follows the original Calamity we see through Link's memories and retold in creating a champion, before the Guardian travels back in time, and the new timeline, where the mini Guardian changes the past, its outcome remaining uncertain for now until the full game is released. We have seen many times in the Zelda series that those who travel back in time often change the outcome in the future, or at least try to. As mentioned before, Ocarina of Time was a clear example of this, as Link was sent back in time to warn Princess Zelda and the royal family of Ganondorf's future plans, thus putting an end to his evil reign before it started, leading to his eventual capture and execution at the hands of the 6 sages. The small guardian, as we learn in the cutscene with Pura and Robbie, has memories of the events of the future, which Zelda and company extract to see the destruction that will ensue if they fail to stop Calamity Ganon. Because the Guardian possesses this knowledge and has lived these events already, it is highly likely that it will do everything in its power to aid our heroes in the struggle to stop the Calamity, helping them to not commit the same mistakes and lead them through a path to victory. Another example of the Zelda series time travel is Skyward Sword. In this game, there existed two large time-bending portals known as Gate of Times, which allowed the user to travel in time. Such a gate was used by the Demon Lord Girahim to revive the Demon King in the past after he was destroyed in the present, thus trying to change the future by altering the past, which would have caused a timeline split then and there if Link hadn't intervened, where Demise would be the supreme ruler of the world, with no one to stop him. Interestingly enough, the Sheikah letters that appear on the portal summoned by the Mini Guardian spell out the words Open Gate of Time. As it is bound to happen, Age of Calamity will likely have several retcons and inconsistencies with the established lore from both Breath of the Wild and creating a champion. However, this can easily be explained away if a timeline split takes place, as anything the small Guardian does to prevent something he knows will happen will alter an event in the future, no matter how small the action. A timeline split wouldn't mean that the events we see in the game will differ from the events of the original Calamity, as the Giga would still be plotting against the Hylians and the hero, and Ganon would inevitably return to Hyrule. All the battles that we will see throughout the game will still be the same, but the Mini Guardian will try his best to alter the past to save everyone. The only question that remains is the following: does the Mini Guardian succeed? We still don't know much about the overall story, other than what we are told in Breath of the Wild, so we can't determine what will happen, but we can make an educated guess. The first outcome is that the Mini Guardian succeeds in saving everyone, maybe not preventing the Calamity itself, as the return of Ganon is inevitable, but perhaps warning everyone to prevent the deaths of thousands, including the lives of King Rome and the 4 champions who died within the Divine Beasts. The second outcome is that the Mini Guardian fails to save everyone, resulting in the ending we all expect, with all the champions dead within the Divine Beasts, Link being defeated while protecting Zelda, and Zelda awakening her powers at the last second. This is the most likely outcome. However, this also has 2 scenarios, which could determine whether the timeline would split or not. The first scenario is that the Mini Guardian is destroyed during the events of the game, obliterated beyond repair, meaning he would not awaken during the Great Calamity, resulting in a timeline split. The second scenario, which is more likely to happen, doesn't require the timeline to split, but is far more tragic, especially for a small mechanical friend. The small Guardian will remain within a closed time loop, ending up in the exact same place that we see him at the beginning of the game. For this to happen, the Mini Guardian would have to be deactivated at some point in the story, either actively by one of the main characters or damaged by an enemy at some point, which would cause the Guardian to be placed within a box in Zelda's room, where it would reawaken during the Great Calamity and travel back in time. If this turns out to be the case, then the Mini Guardian will be doomed to travel endlessly throughout time, failing to stop the Calamity again and again and again for all time. What do you guys think will be the case? Will the timeline split due to the Little Guardian's actions, or will its actions remain within a time loop? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified of future uploads. Also, consider following me on Twitter and Instagram if you haven't already to stay in touch. This has been Zelda Lore, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.